In order to do homework 10, you need to know what some separate names are for the names of the notes in the scale. Normally the names of the scale are just regular letters like, A, B, C, D, E, F, and G, those 7 letters. But you can also give them numbers, and they call those scale degrees. It'd be like a 1, 2, 3, let's zoom in here, 4, 5, 6, 7, and they'll have these little hats on top like this. This thing is called a caret. Not like the orange one. Little hats. Okay, so those are scale degrees. And you have these because a lot of times you just want to know which note it is in the scale, and you don't really care what scale it is. So the scale degrees. Then there's another name for the notes. I know, yet another, and that's its name of its purpose or function in the scale. And it helps us tell what the point is that we're using this note for in music. Why are we using this note or another? Where is it going? What's its direction or purpose? And that name is its functional name, and the first one in the scale is called the center of the tones or tonic. The next one is called the supertonic. It's named for being one above the tonic, supertonic. Now we need to memorize them in the order that they occur in the scale, because that's how we usually use them. So 1 through 7 like this. That's not like where they're derived from though. They're derived as their distance away from the tonic. So we have like tonic here. And up here we have dominant. Up here we have, down here we have subdominant. Midway between them we have the submediant. Here we have the mediant. Right before the tonic we have leading tone, and right after it we have supertonic. So these are the main ones: the tonic and the 2 dominants. And in between, middle way between them, we have the lower mediant, sub or lower mediant, and the regular mediant, middle way between tonic and dominant. Right before we have the tone that leads in, and right afterwards we have the one that's right above the tonic. So everything is compared to this center point here, the tonic. Oops. Okay, great, we got that. Now let's move on to using that stuff. I recommend you always write the stuff down immediately in the order of the scale, not its functional order, but its order of the scale, so you can remember them. So you can remember, Tim sold my soul down south last Tuesday. And that's Tim sold my soul down south last Tuesday. Or tonic, supertonic, mediant, subdominant, dominant, submediant, leading tone, and tonic. Just get in the habit of writing that down several times. Okay, now that we've got that, we can use this in conjunction with the fact that we know how to make major scales to find the exact note that they want. It says identify and notate the requested notes. The first problem is done. It says dominant in G. Okay, so they identified the note, which was dominant, which is D, wrote it there, and then wrote it down in the staff. Next it says subdominant in F. So I have to ask myself, what is subdominant? Well, 1, 2, 3, 4. Subdominant is the 4th note in the scale. So I know in F then that it's going to be some type of F, G, A, B, some type of B, right? Because we go F, G, A, B. So some type of B. What type of B? B sharp, B natural, B flat? Well, we have to use the major scale pattern to figure it out, which is like whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half, right? So I go, that's a whole, that's a whole. A to B is not a half. That's a whole. To make it a half, I'd have to make it this B lower. There we go. Now it's a half. So I need a B flat. I need to go up here. And then B flat is my subdominant in F, or my fourth note in F. 1, 2, 3. Here's my fourth note, or subdominant. Supertonic in D flat major. Well, let's not get too worried just because we have D flat, which might be a strange sounding key. Supertonic means the second one, tonic, supertonic. So we can say, what is it going to be? It's always going to be the next letter up then. D flat would be my tonic, and some type of A, B, C, D, E, some type of E would be my supertonic. So I go, okay, it's got to be an E of some sort. So I'll put E down here. Right, and remember that D flat is our tonic, right? Tonic. So this is super tonic. And I go, is this basically going to fit into the pattern, the major scale pattern of whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half? I just have to ask myself, is this a whole step? And from D flat to E, it isn't. D flat to E flat, it would be. So I need this note. F sharp, leading tone. Okay. Same type of thing, but this one I'm going to do it a little bit differently. I know my order is this. Well, my F scale, first of all, would be F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F. I didn't put any sharps, but I don't care because the scale always has to have those letters in that order. Leading tone is going to be the note before F. It's the seventh note in the scale, right? So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then we begin our scale again at 8. So our leading tone has to be some type of E. Question is, which type of E? Well, we know the pattern is whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. So the very last step, right there, from 7 to 8, has to be a half step. We know that 8 is really F sharp. So then the question is, what type of E is a half step lower than F sharp? Well, E is a half step lower than F, but not a half step lower than F sharp. So it's got to be something that's basically enharmonically equivalent to an F, or it's got to be E sharp. So this one's a little bit harder here. So we can be like this. You can even write the scale if you want. It's not necessary. Just go down here and say E sharp. Now let's do part 2. It says identify the key, the tonic, and notate the note in both staves. So this first one says F sharp is the mediant. And the idea is if, well, first of all, we have to notate this F sharp. So let's do that. They notate the F sharp here. The next part is a harder part. They say identify the key or the tonic. If F sharp is the mediant, okay, mediant equals 3, the third thing in the key. So we need to go backwards. So F sharp or some type of F is 3, some type of E would be 2, and some type of D would be 1. So we need to figure out what key is it that has a F sharp as the third note. So there's a couple ways in doing this. Since we already know it's a D, one thing we could do is we could just go backwards like we did, 3, 2, 1, and we can ask ourselves, if this is F sharp, right, then what was a note before there? Is it actually a whole step, F sharp to E? And the answer is yep. And from the beginning, is D to E a whole step? Whole, yep. So it follows the pattern of a major scale. So just D natural must be the key, right? Because it follows this pattern of whole, half, whole, half in the beginning there. Next it says C is the submediant. So first let's just notate a C because it wants us to notate them. This is just so you can get used to notating notes and to make sure that you actually know where the notes are in the treble clef, and down here all cows in the bass clef. The harder part really is what's the submediant? Well, this is 6. Okay. The 6th note. So if C is the 6th note, then we have to count backwards. We have to go, okay, C is 6, C, B, A, G, F, E. So this is 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Some type of E will be our tonic, but we don't know if it's like E sharp, E flat, E natural. We don't know which one of those is. So one thing we can do is we can just go backwards, and we can make sure that we have the right ones in there. We can say between these two needs to be a whole step. This needs to be a whole. This needs to be a half. Whole. Well, that doesn't work. C would have to go to a B flat to make it a whole step. A whole step below B flat would be A flat. Then a half step below that is a G. Whole step below that is F, and then the whole step below F is actually an E flat. So my tonic then, my key is E flat major.